storytelling on here. Today's game day, Christians in Space, but I'm going to do for the Dark Ages, or for the Lord RPG, the Dark Ages, and I'm showing you the Creature Codex. I finished. So this guy's done, and it's on my website if you guys want to get it. $5 PDF. There's a free version, which is kind of like an older version on there, so you can just check out the game system. And this is just the more polished. I put it into a 40-page booklet that is a print now that I'm going to be... Right now I'm going to figure out what I'm doing with this. But there's a print version of it, and I'll start sort of selling that out of my house just for a little bit. And then I'll probably put it on drive-thru and all that. But I don't know, figuring this out. Okay, but let's go to, and this is this guy's done, the role-playing game. And what I'm working on now is the Creature Codex. I just want to show you. It has a couple of pages from the original one because these are to me good reference. I can probably, this is good reference here, and then of course the abilities. And then I do the mission map. I probably should take that out. I'm just figuring this out. But anyway, let me go down to, let me just kind of scroll through. There's the base, like the low level. It kind of goes low level to sort of higher level, and I don't do levels, just more intensity. These are like, so it's got the creatures, a little bit scarier. It's kind of like I really exaggerate the prehistoric potential for different beasts, that could be available to use. I bet you in the Dark Ages there was probably 100 different types of scary wolves running around, different, like one valley will have a black giant wolf and one valley will have a reddish wolf with, saber tooth or whatever. You could do kind of stuff like that. Anyway, there's basically villager type combatants, and then cult warrior basics, and giant or ogres here, ogres and giants. The horned ones, that was a fun campaign I did as the playtest. And of course, more prehistoric, we got dragons. This one is Draconis cartoonus. Maybe I'll make a cuter name. I don't know what cartoon, but you could literally they could befriend. Especially if you have kids, you want to play and let them have a fun dragon friend. And is that Christian? Sure, Christians believe in taking care of animals, and if this one actually has a way of being nice, and it can. But I don't know. You can try it out or not. Prehistoric creatures. Again, going off on variations. It's funny. I did 2 drawings of this ram, and the ram is the Hebrew name for the unicorn in the Bible, and it describes it this way. It's some sort of beast of burden, broody kind of creature. I mean, I don't know if the horn is there, or it could be on the head like a goat type of creature, but I just went with this rhino-y thing. I drew 2 versions, and I kind of forgot, but I kind of like both. So one's more cartoony, one's more scary looking. So I decided to make this one a little tougher version, and then some other little scary things here. And this one can be mysterious tentacle beast. So is it a beast or is it a shadowy thing? I kind of like to, just an option for you. And why not have a tentacle scary monster beast in the prehistoric-y scary thing? And something like this probably would not even last as far as a chance at being fossilized. Well, only you can get fossilized for the Great Flood. But if it was survived and had a variation and evolved within a species, within a group, of tentacle octopus type creatures, and if it died off, it obviously wouldn't have left any pieces. I don't believe in evolution, but I do believe that variations within a kind. That's in Genesis 30, I think, 30, where Jacob breeds different goats or sheep, goats, and so we certainly, creation people, believe in variations within a kind. So here's the cave folk, and I do different cave guys, cavemen. They have fight in the dark ability. She has an ability to douse fire. So how do we make spellcasters in For the Lord RPG? Right? I want to kind of go over that real quick just to explain. So she has an aggression 0. Oh, let me turn off the little. Yeah. Okay. Turn off those little handy graphic things, aim things. Okay, aggression 0, and I don't need to go look in a book for all the different things I need to do for her or for my villain wizards. I can just sorry, I'm just seeing this. Looks like it's cut off the head there. I can just make it up right here. I have it sort of. I don't have anything memorized. It's just simple, and that's all you need in a game. You don't need to know like 8 first level spells, 6 second level spells, 4 third level. You got to go look in the book. It's exhausting. I mean, it's just tedious. This way, the way I think of her spells, her black magic, I just think, well, what would she do in a cave? What would be her powers in a cave? What would and I keep it grounded in reality too. So for her, she has douse fire. That makes sense. She knows how to douse fires really quickly. And it's sort of like, is it part magical or is it real? But she can like literally turn off your, if you have a torch, the missionaries that are coming in the cave, she can literally douse that fire from, using her magic points from far away. And what pagans do is they have, all their magic points are like prep points. They've prepared stuff and they can spend it on these specific things during that encounter. And when that encounter is done, they prepare more points for the next encounter, whatever. And then that's just an arbitrary term for what they are ready with, what they have. And half of what the pagan magic is sort of based off of reality, and the other half could be demonic, could be something magical. We Christians certainly believe that. Even in reality, we believe that. We think, today it's more subdued, but back then, definitely crazier. Anyway, douse fire. So she can douse light sources of open fires easily to darken a room. So cave folk have the advantage. She need only roll a TR12 to accomplish this and points for range. Okay? So she can literally, so what is it? Is it that she knows how to throw a fire over there or a water? Does she do a wind thing? We don't know. You don't know. I don't know. I don't care. But it makes sense. There's some sort of reality in this, but also some sort of magic. Okay. Choking dust. She can puff or spew out dust that can choke and blind anyone in the area. Okay. So in obviously in my game, it's very simple. All her magic points represent die ranks, right? And what's a die rank? Die rank is D4. Let me type this out real quick just so you can understand it. I'm just looking for some room here. Let me just do it on the side. Okay. Die rank is 1 is D4, right? 2 is D6, 3 is D8, 4 is D10, 5 is D12, and then 6 is D12 plus D4. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. That's a new rule that I just made up. Great. So I got to figure this out if I had that in somehow. But no one's, I've never, you don't need to go that far, these ones. So we'll just, what did I just do? Why did they disappear on me? Are they not, why don't I see them? That is weird because I don't really have a problem like this. Let me make them bigger and they're black. Let me try red. What? Oh, I know why. Because I'm doing preview mode. All right, let me, just for this little lesson here. Didn't know they do that. Okay. So these are die ranks. Let me just stick with the basics for now. Okay. Oh, if you go above, if you do D12 plus D4, you roll both and keep the highest. That's how that works. You don't get to add it to it. Okay. Anyway. So if she spends the magic points, this is what she'll get. Now, how does that work? She'll get so let's say for Douse Fire, all she needs to do is roll TR12 and accomplish and points for range. Okay. So I would just say all she needs to spend is 1 magic point for close up, 2 magic points for, if they're like a little bit away maybe towards the entrance of the cave, and that's it. It's that much. If they're aware that she's going to do it, I would allow them to have a resist. Like they get to cover the fire, they get to block it from her dousing, and then there's like a little resistance roll or roll off. Like they can roll an aware, and she has to roll her douse fire. She gets to add her 3 here because that is the average of her intellect, and spirit. Oh, this should be a 3. And she doesn't even have that much magic points. She has 3 plus a D4. That's her skill, an additional D4. That's pretty low, actually. I'll leave it for now. I mean, you can always make it higher. I consider the cave float kind of a lower level adventure. So, okay, choking dust. Can she puff it or spew out dust that can choke and blind anyone in the area? Okay, so for 1, deluge. She can spend on deluge. And that's like, let's say she spends 1. So that equals a D4. So she rolls to see how many she affects. Let me roll it real quick just for the fun of it. 1. She only gets to affect 1. That's the risk of spending 1 on deluge. Deliverance is how much she can choke them for. So that would, so let's say she spends 1. Deliverance 1 equals minus, so they're at minus D4. But they get to, the resist is naturally a 12. She can increase that by spending 1 of those magic points. And let's say she spends 1 on it, which is called duress. Duress 1. So the TR 12 plus D4. Because it's 12 is the regular save for anything. So she's going to add a D4 to make it even harder. So the choking dust is more intense. She prepared it to be more intense. So 4. So it's a 16 equals. So they have TR. TR is the trial rating or difficulty number. So they have to resist it with a 16. They can use their aggression. I allow them to kind of use whatever trait they want to use if they can describe it well. But to me, aggression and spirit are the normal ones. However, in this one, they can use an aware because you're trying to dodge this choking thing. If they want to use intelligence, they could. But how do you what in crafting or whatever? Well, I've crafted this quick mask thing, and I don't know, whatever. I can't think of anything right now. But I would probably, if it's too absurd, I would say no. Use your aware, or use your aggression, or use your spirit. Spirit means you persevere. You can persevere through the coughing and choking, and continue on. Spirit is that way. It's your it's part wisdom, part constitution. Shadowy fear. She can create a sense of demonic shadows and sounds that instill fear. See, so she in the cave, she knows to maybe she does the finger shadows or puppet shadows, and or she knows what shadows are there and makes noises, or she knows how to make shadows work for her and sounds. So because she's in there doing that all the time, she actually, that's part of her rituals. So a TR is rolled, or 1 wants to, which is their trial rating of 12 is rolled, or 1 wants to rush out of there. So let me put 12 there. A TR 12 is rolled, or 1 wants to rush out of there because it's, no duration is required by her. The only release being to get out of the dark, shadowy caves. Not even fire will do it since it is still in a scary, shadowy place. So she can create fears on them, or they want to rush out of there, or at minus, DR 2 rolls. Sorry, I gotta self. I think the real reason why I do these videos is so I can actually have a reason to really read them over and over and over and correct things. And when I orally explain them, I can see like what my mind doesn't see when I'm just reading it. So thank you for helping me out here. Okay, a TR is rolled, and this is, by the way, the default for everything, every spell or thing that I do in here. It's just a matter of you penalizing them with a penalty roll for whatever reason, and it could be a pain. It could be fear. It could be poison, disease, paralysis. They're all the same thing. They're basically a penalty to their rolls. And you could reduce their traits if you want. I have never done that yet in the game, but I think that could be another factor that could be used. But I've never used it. I just use minus D4, minus D6, minus D8. And duration, I don't worry about it. They do it. They have it until they can describe some way of reducing that penalty. Obviously, if they're poisoned, they're not going to be able to do it during combat. They got to go rest and recuperate and get through the poison in time, and let it reduce. And they can. The nun has Miracle of Healing, so I would allow that roll. Like she could do that in magic, and using a DRR, die rank result. A die rank result is you roll, try to get a number above 10. Whatever that number, like say a 16 roll, she spends, her magic point or her blessing points on it, and does a Miracle of Healing to somebody. If she gets a total of 16, then he reduces that poison effect by D6. So which is up here, two die ranks, and that's through miracle healing. So his poison. Let's say his poison was at D8, and she has reduced it by 2, so now it's at D4. Okay, so the die ranks go up and down like that. So Shadowy Fears is another cool little thing that she can do. Dark Witch Rule. She performs shadowy stories and dances to keep them as dark cave dwelling zealots. They have senses in the dark. Have a plus D8 to their denouement. Yeah, see? I need a freaking... I just did this yesterday, by the way. I just wrote this out. They have senses in it. Okay, yeah, they can see in it. They have senses in the dark and have a plus D8 to their denouement. That plus D8 can be anything. Plus DR. Oops. Based on her ritual. So when they perform rituals, they can roll a DRR and give their characters bonuses and stuff. And obviously what she's trying to do is make them all, worshippers of the dark, worshippers of the cave. Okay, so they're all stuck in the cave and they're all evil, and these characters, you can decide what they want to do as a plot. Do they go out? They go out and basically terrorize local people, right? And they live in the dark, so they come out in the dark, that kind of thing. And of course, it's up to the missionaries to go and evangelize them or confront them, and it's probably going to get violent because she has got them worshiping the dark, the shadows, and they all live in the shadows. They all live in the caves. Okay, so that's kind of like, and they all have foul smells that are minus D6 to any civil approaches or interactions. So if they want to preach to them or come up to them, they have minus D6. And of course, these people love the dark, so they're going to run away. They have their little crude blades. They throw rocks. Their strength is their stealth in the shadowy darkness. The little girls and women have a terrible jarring scream. Why is this? What am I missing here? Nothing. They're fighting in the dark. I have a rule here about fighting in the dark. First, roll the cave folks' stealth in the dark to create a TR. The missionaries must overcome to even attack them. So they have a plus D6 here, plus their awareness. So let me roll that real quick for the fun of it. D26 plus a D6 plus 3. So 8 plus 6 is 14. So the characters have to roll a 14 to even sense where they are in the dark. Also, they are at minus D12. But the DRR of that roll may reduce... Okay, so if your characters, they got to roll a 16 just to know where they are in the dark. So just to know where they are to find them. Like they have the awareness in the dark. But let's say the character has an awareness of plus 3, your character. 17 plus 3 is 20. All right. So the 20 is 10 above the 20. So that reduces this minus D12 to... Oh, where's the thing? Oh, did I delete it? I deleted the... So D10 is 4 ranks. So yeah, it reduces the D12 to a D4. So you're not only are you know where they are in the dark, you only get a minus D4 to attack them. Whatever that character. So that's how I do that. So if a Holy Knight... Okay, and I give you an example here as well. So if a Holy Knight rolls a 16 awareness in the dark, he succeeds at hearing or sensing the cave folk and has only a minus D8 to his rolls, not the D12. I need a... Rolls above their stealth total, he will have awareness in the dark. Sorry, let me just edit this a little bit later. Let me put it in red so I'll remember. Okay, so, but you get the idea. But let me move on. I haven't even edited this. I just wrote this out yesterday. But I wanted to get this across to you guys to see how simple it is. Okay, so Forest Nymph and Forest Troll. These trolls are like not really trolls, right? They're pagans in garb. There are some actual like more trolls ones up above. They're basically ogres and giants. They're ogres and giants, but they will have some sort of foulness to them, a disease, a foul smell, leprosy, scary, hairy, warty foulness. some black magic feature, possession, or drugged affliction. So to me, trolls are just versions of ogres and giants, but they're just fouler. So you could kind of come up with your own, but they're very similar to ogres. And I don't have the regenerate 10 hit points per thing, but if they could have a drugged affliction that could be similar to that. They don't feel no pain, like feel no pain, regenerative, or feel no pain. Feel no pain is kind of pretty serious. Like they just don't even feel it when you hurt them. So like grievous wounds, no grievous wound feeling, that kind of thing, Okay. Let me go back down to so these forest people, they could be like villagers who are, manipulating, conniving, or they could be like real zealots that live in the forest, and that's just how they live. Pagans have a complete variety of whether they're full zealots or just manipulative, both being manipulative. So whether they believe in it or they just use it to, protect or steal an area or whatever, here they are. So the forest. Oh, okay. Let me go back to the forest nymphs. They have a light spear, with a poison. I figure if they're in the forest, they know the different poisons that are there. I could even make it like a hallucinative drug. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's what I could do. If they poison you, you get hallucinations of demons and stuff, right? That's totally pagan. They give you acid. Let me write that down in my notes here and kind of add that here somewhere. That'd be freaking cool. Hallucination poison. Okay, see if I can remember that. All right. So there's that. The troll guys here have clay jar bombs. They throw it. There's a blast up to D4 when you short whatever. If they're all together, if one is way over there, you're not gonna affect that one. Poison minus D6, and if I don't say what the difficulty is, it's a TR12 to save. Resist versus spirit or whatever. Okay, troll guards. So these guys, I was gonna call them kobolds, but I kind of think they're big. Not kobolds are small in the legends, so I'll just call them troll guards. But I don't know. You can call them whatever you want, kobolds or whatever. But I made them have heavy spears, heavy crossbow. They cause fear. Resist or be at minus D6 against them, just because they're just freaky deaky. And Christians have an ability to resist the fear a little better than regular. They can raise it up as a skill. The priests can help them resave, blah blah blah. So there's like little things there that Christians have a better way of dealing with fear than non-believers do. Their bulky garb gives them a fumble on a 1 or a 2. I mean, you can even make it higher if you feel like it. But they fumble a little bit more because of the weird stuff. But this stuff actually kind of is like a armor, like a shield and a helmet, even though it's not steel, but it just has that sort of visual difficulty that you can hit the actual person. So it's 16. And I would probably make them attack last because of their heavy stuff and they're bulky, unless the character was wearing heavy as well. But their whole premise is to scare you, So, so this witch, she has magic. She has a 3 plus a D8. So if she were to encounter you guys, 6. So she'd have 9 magic points to use this stuff here on, not the rituals. The ritual stuff is all about preparing for attacking the missionaries, or stuff that she can do, or the powers that she uses to carry on her plot. So that's kind of what the rituals are for, or something the missionaries can then go in and encounter and or interrupt, or both. So fanaticism gives a minion a D4 to their combat damage and denouement roll. So they should have duration. Yeah. So she can really make 1 or 2 warriors. Depends if she wants to deluge on them, spend a point on deluge, or and on duration. So I got that there. So this is kind of a tough one for her to spend on. Hexen, this curses one to suffer an additional D4 damage die whenever they are harmed. Duress and deluge are needed. So she can do that on the mission on a missionary, probably the warrior. She'll want to, so they get more hurt by her warriors. This repulse. This rebuke adds a penalty die to any rolls the target may do to harm the caster. It is free action and may use the self-pride rule. So self-pride basically means that she's going to spend, if she runs out of magic points, she can use her vigor. She only has 4 to try to, repulse someone. And if she rolls, she can only use like 1 at a time. So she rolls a d4, and if she rolls a 1, that actually gives you the opponent a d4 bonus instead. So that's self-pride basically means you're trying to do it without without using, for Christians it's without using God, but it's like a desperate use of your faith or whatever. The missionaries can use it. I've never used this rule because whenever they run out, they just do other things. The self-pride rule, but it's basically a desperate attempt to use your vitality or hit points as magic points, and it drains you of them. You can't heal yourself because that'd be silly. Circular thing there. But anyway, it's just another little rule that I have in there, which you can ignore. So she can make her minions tough, do damage and not flee, which is one of the biggest things for the witches. Is they make their followers fanatics, so they fight to the death. And then the curse, and then the repulse, and then the derange is basically how she makes the trolls, or these troll guards. Is she does this whole ritual that turns them into these troll guards, and the people, they do it. She makes the actual garb. She presents it to them in the ritual, and they wear it and she, the whole thing. So that's like another way for her to make more guards. Dark visions. She sees prophecies and can give oneself or a follower a vision. Each die rank roll can be given to a follower to use on any future skill roll. Each magic point spent can be given to a follower to use on any future roll once. It's like an inspired die. So they do have their version of prayer, which is all these rituals and giving their warriors inspired die. But it's usually for combat. It's usually for confronting the missionaries. Okay, so these are witches. I did some witches, and over here are some pagan temple guards. But I did witches, and I'll go through a couple of these. So for instance, this Germanic forest witch. Okay, so what is a Germanic forest witch? I'm thinking she's like part of the village, out in the remote areas. Doesn't attack. I'm looking at this, little token here. She looks kind of goofy. Befuddle. She can befuddle. And that's just a skill. It's not a magic point. So she can roll and try to befuddle. It's a social skill thing. A character. She can blah, 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 hey, something weird and befuddle you. What does it do? I don't know. However high a roll, they get to resist. If they fail, they're befuddled. What is it? I don't know. We're going to role play it out. It's kind of like you kind of leave it open. Tales of woe or grandeur, puffing up the listener so she can actually, oh, you look like a mighty warrior, and sort of fool you in that way. What is the end result of that? I don't know. I'll role play it out and, have them resist. If they fail, they gotta, I kind of just leave it open for whatever. I'm going to let it role play out. You really like her. So role play that you really like her and you don't want the others to bother her or hurt her, whatever. In her tiny hovel, minus D4 to resist her social skills of manipulation. So if they're in her hovel, if they go visit her, she will invite them in and they'll be at minus D4. I don't know. It's a comfy little, goofy little place. Village Voodoo 3. She has 3 spirit points from her average of intellect and spirit or soul. Oh, let me see. Spirit and social, I think, are the ones. So I'll make it a 4. It's the average of 2 of those. Spirit and one other one. And you can do like spirit and aggression, then that would be some sort of warrior shaman, that type of thing. So voodoo, I just giving a different name, that magic name. Village Voodoo. So curses upon enemies. So she does the hexen, wound grievously. So she can do those secretly upon them while they're in her hovel, or while she's got them, make sure they're unaware that they will have those hexes or curses. And obviously I got to take note of that and remember that if they confront her or the village or try to convert. Rituals, hexens, to make her curses stronger and last much longer. So she can even do that. And there's a chance that she will have these inflicted upon others who then must go to her to remove the curse. And so that's kind of the manipulation that they do. Okay. The MAGA Roman witch, and you can, with her, you can obviously do more. You can, these are just examples, and, you can flim flam it and make up more of what her intentions are in the village. Obviously, all witches will have some way of seducing the villagers, giving them some white magic, giving them some sort of heal or whatever, or remove curses. But then they're the ones that cause the curse. So she could literally invite villagers in, give them a curse. They go about realizing they're cursed. Then she removes it, saying now she's the savior. Maga is a Roman witch. Maga is Latin for witch. So this person is a sort of a city one. And I'm going to put the social at 5. I figure they're very social. This one, she's very social too, which is odd, but I think it's like a local social. Witty or passive aggressive comeback, plus D6. Versus spirit or society, can throttle to be at minus D6 for a few turns. So when she says that, they're going to be at minus D6 for a few turns, every roll. And, I just tell them, you're just throttled, you're angry, she really insulted you, said something weird, you're at minus D6. Strong perfume, so a TR 10, trial rating of 10, or minus D4 to harm her. So if you try to go up and harm her, the strong perfume just reduces that chance. And I could just roll that and add it to her defense. Or I could just tell him to reduce one of their die ranks down by 1. But I'll probably just myself roll it at the time and add it to her defense that they got to hit her. So she has a 13 now. Charm and controls. So these are ones that are in the the original list that I have at the beginning of this. Cast to keep one's minions riled up or spiteful and gives a penalty to any chance at knowing the gospel or conversion, usually done against preaching in a civil situation with deluge. The casting gives them a resistance roll against the preaching roll. So she's going to be right there doing this to try to counter the your preaching. And she spends magic points to do that. She will spend some to deluge, to how many she can affect, and make it hard, and basically make it harder for their role to succeed. It can be a penalty to their preaching, or I can make it add to the people. It's really just their preaching, right? I just subtract it from their preaching. They got to roll like a 12, or I might make it, or I would use denouement and decide on, or I'd have her add it to the denouement and decide on whether they would accept the preaching or resist the preaching. Or I would just make up a number, 12. And she roll, adds to that number through this preaching. I mean, that's really what it is. Because the preaching is trying to get above a 12. But that number could change based on the area. Are they all angry? Okay. And hate the Christians? Okay, I'll make it a 14 that they have to beat. Is she there? I make it a 16. If they're angry and she's there, and they're in a temple or as a mob, you could move that number around based on just what you think is harder for the preacher to preach. Curse of the Spirit. This gives one a penalty die to any spirit roll for resistance. It is a free action against any minion nearby, or an action against a clergy to befuddle them for a time. So this is her reducing penalty to any spirit rolls. Yeah. So to the preacher, she would curse the preacher's spirit so that they would have a penalty roll. I would, anytime they try to do preaching, which is a spirit roll, this is also a penalty. The charm and control is for the people, the curse of the spirit against the preacher. And they're kind of the similar thing. Whatever, it's fine. Rituals, concoctions. She makes love potions that she can use to impair one at minus DR for any roll. Under certain fun circumstances, the drug will weaken women's discernment. So the love potion is one of the biggest things, like I say, that pagan witches do. They come up with, they create these potions to affect you, and they affect the women. And of course, the main thing the guy or whoever gets love potion wants to do is put it in the other person's drink, like a date rape drug. So that, not like it is a date rape drug. Imagine you giving a woman ecstasy And then whenever she sees you, she gets these feelings, and so she thinks she's in love with you, but really she's being drugged. That is horrific. It's imprisonment. It's rape. But that's one of the biggest things that pagans and witches do, and even today. If you notice, witches today are all into drugs and non-sobriety stuff, whether it's mild, herbal, natural, or hardcore. Of course, everything is hardcore if you intensify it enough. Okay, Hexen. So she actually now has a very secretive place where she does evil praying and try to curse people. And I could roll that. I could roll that against the players, like she does some sort of magic ritual somewhere and do that. And if they did any kind of, if the players did any kind of visions or prophecy, they could like get a sense that this is happening, but where, they don't know, whatever. So, you can get creepier and creepier. Okay, so you can see here, I've got more, a diviner, a hag. She's got maladies. She does pain, tasteless, vile drug, inflicts deadly poison, kills over days, no save but a miracle or her very expensive antidote. See? Drug of violence gives the imbiber plus D4 to aggression. So this person is really controlling, and she probably controls a bunch of local barbarians, whatever. Rural. This is a rural witch, like in the farm rural area around a town. She has the hexen, the pain, wound grievously, and dark visions. But she also has white magic, so heal, remove disease, and bitter waters. Yes, that kind. Abortions, yeah. So she does that. Stroiga, the emulator, she does fire. She can spew out some sort of fire liquid. That's very flammable. Blinding light. She has some sort of like a wizard elemental type stuff. Aura, she glows, which then makes her followers even more fanatical. She has a magic item. Her amulet gives her more magic points, so she's got a lot there. 5 plus D12 plus D6. She has unholy resistance to blessings, so against the if the clerics ever do anything to her. She has an unholy armor aura. What is it? So she has a 1 plus a D6 to her armor saves. Oh no, that should go to. No, I'm gonna leave it there. It's unholy, so she's got some unholy thing going on there, but it's also the glow and the stuff, and it just makes you not hit her as hard. You're kind of freaked out by the bright light. It should go into defense, but I'm just gonna leave it under save because that's kind of where I use unholy armor, so, which is fine. Whatever, either way. She controls all her minions with aura and flame show, so she does a whole aura and flame show, which makes them worship her even more. And if given a purpose, a mission, she will perform this ritual before they confront their missionaries. This will give them all bonus die to spend on rolls. So that's like the inspired die. And you basically you prep this out before you do the next time they're going to meet her, and she's planning this out. You roll. Probably, man, I give all this. That'd be crazy roll. Jeez. And then that adds to their well, let me just give you an example real quick. Let's say she's doing a ritual on them, preparing them to go out and confront and defeat and eradicate the missionaries, and their whatever, what they're doing here. We don't want them here in our village or town or section or whatever. So she has to do, how many words does she affect? Deluge. Let me just type this out real quick. I'll type it over here on the side. First is deluge. So she's got, all right, let me see how many magic points she has. There's a D12 and a D6. So I'm going to roll that. I rolled 4, so she only has 9 magic points total. But she's going to spend it all on the ritual. First is deluge, so she's going to spend 2 for a D6. D6 is, here, let me do the ranks again. D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, D12 plus D4. Okay, deluge is D6, deluge 2, D6, and what else? Deliverance. Deliverance is how intense this is going to be. This is it's a ritual, so it's going to be a DRR. So yeah, deliverance is kind of the way she wants to do it. So she's going to spend the rest on that, 7, which is 5 goes to D12, and then 7 is D12 plus D6. Well, and it's not a plus; it's a keep the highest. So she performs this ritual. She adds the average of her spirit and social 5, which is 5. So the roll is going to be 5 plus D20. Oops. Plus D2, like this. D12, D6. Keep the highest. That's the scripting. Although the actual scripting would be this symbol. I don't know what that's called, above the brackets. Okay, so if I roll that, then it's the DRR of that gives her warriors the die, the inspired die. Okay, so let's roll it. D20. Let me roll. Yeah. And I'll tell you what I rolled. Okay, so the D12 and the D6 is both 4s, so a 4 plus 11, so 15 plus 5, 20. So that's a D10. So they get let's see how many though. D10 deliverance. And then how many? Because I deluges D6 of her warriors will get this. 4. 4 of them. Okay, so what is this D10? I can use the D10 as 4 right here. I can use them as 4 D4s, or I can use 2 D6s, or I can use a D8 and a D4. However I want to split those up with the warriors as they go and fight the missionaries. I can do whatever I want with it. Maybe I'll give it to their vigor, their hit points, or put it on their defense. And again, it's only once you use it up, it's only one turn. So it would be for one turn. So I would, if they get hit, then there's a D10, or I could use it for part of their denouement, their morality roll. Whenever they want to surrender, I'll add this to their denouement roll so that they have a higher chance of not surrendering, because she did a ritual on them, and so they're kind of beefed up. Whatever I want to do, it'll be flimmy flammy. I'll do it during the game. A D10 is really good. They're going to spend it pretty quickly in the first round or two as they attack and go crazy. They'll spend it with their attack or their denouement or their vigor to absorb some of the, like armor save, to absorb some of the damage, because they're just all want to do her thing. Okay, so that's kind of how that works with rituals. And again, if the missionaries go in and interrupt this ritual, then they won't have this, kind of a thing. Alrighty. And the DRR is a really big part of this game. So, and I'm just going to finish up here with these different types of characters. And, I don't know. It's fun. I enjoy it. If you really want to get a feel for this too, just watch my live plays, actual plays. And if you're a GM or you want a GM but just don't know, I'm looking for GMs. Contact me. I'm going to start sending out free packages of booklets or PDFs or whatever to whomever. So email me at ron@storytellingron.com. And if you just want these for free, I'm going to send you the PDFs. If you want to buy it to help support me, that is great too. If you just want a free version, I need GMs. So if you really are intentful on doing this as a GM, just email me and I will send you what you need to get going. Okay, so I need GMs, and the caveat of that is I hope that you will send me reports of how it went, or pictures, or anything, so I can kind of promote it. That's kind of like I hope you would do, because I'm trying to figure out how to get this out there, and it's a ministry for me. It's a ministry because I find this really edifying to me about Christianity, Christian history, and paganism for today, even for modern day. All right, let me go back to the cam. Thanks for watching and listening. I hope this just was fun for you. I kind of really I like listening to role-playing game YouTube videos where they just talk about the different role-playing games and stuff. But again, none of them talk about it in a way of Christian faith or paganism. So it's all about. One of the last ones I watched was about tarot card. They made a role-playing game with tarot cards, and they studied all the tarot cards in history to do it. Oh man, I I didn't last very long with that one, but that's kind of like where the RPGs are going. They're all pagan. They're going hardcore pagan, and even the ones that kind of think they're not going pagan are going pagan. And I'm just like, I don't want anymore. I want something like this. Anyway, all right, in the game of life, roll holy dice.